One of its heads seemed to have a mortal wound, but its mortal wound was healed, and the whole earth marveled as they followed the beast. In part 6, I stated that the woman clothed with the sun represents the new covenant promise corresponding to Jerusalem above, hence the reason she is seen in heaven. The male child, to whom she gives birth, signifies Christ, and his coming to the Jews is recorded in the 4 Gospels. When Christ began his ministry after his baptism by John, the war with the dragon ensued and lasted through the course of the Lord's entire ministry. In Revelation 12:8, we are told that the dragon was defeated and there was no longer any place for them in heaven. He and his messengers thrown down to the earth. This signifies the end of the old covenant law and its types and shadows, for the spiritual realities of such was now made evident through the Lord. I believe it's in John chapter 8 where Jesus identifies the dragon of Revelation 12. Please consider. So, Jesus said to the Jews who had believed in him, "If you abide in my word, you are truly my disciples, and you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free." They answered him, "We are offspring of Abraham and have never been enslaved to anyone. How is it that you say you will become free?" Jesus answered them, "Truly, truly, I say to you, everyone who commits sin is a slave to sin. The slave does not remain in the house forever. The Son remains forever. So if the Son sets you free, you will be free indeed. I know that you are offspring of Abraham. Yet you seek to kill me because my word finds no place in you. I speak of what I have seen with my Father, and you do what you have heard from your father." Note the discourse between Christ and the Jews, their first argument being, "We are offspring of Abraham." How does Jesus respond? "I know that you are offspring of Abraham," and then switches gears and states, "I speak of what I have seen with my Father, and you do what you have heard from your father." How do the Jews respond? Abraham is our father. Jesus said to them, "If you were Abraham's children, you would be doing what Abraham did. But now you seek to kill me, a man who has told you the truth that I heard from God. This is not what Abraham did. You are doing what your father did." They said to him, "We were not born of sexual immorality. We have one Father, even God." Here, the Jews finally get the fact that Christ is not speaking of fleshly lineage, but of a spiritual foundation. And their argument? We were not born of sexual immorality. We have one Father, even God. How does Jesus respond? "If God were your Father, you would love me, for I came from God and I am here. I came not of my own accord, but he sent me. Why you not understand what I say? It is because you cannot bear to hear my word. You are of your father, the devil, and your will is to do your father's desires." I cannot imagine a more scathing rebuke than that which Jesus said in these passages. "You are of your father, the devil, and your will is to do your father's desires." Welcome to the great red dragon and the war in heaven. Since the dream image of Nebuchadnezzar corresponds to the dragon and beast, and the mortal wound defines such a significant event, it only makes sense that this mortal wound would be seen with Nebuchadnezzar, and it is. In Daniel chapter 4, Nebuchadnezzar has another dream where he sees a tree whose top reached to heaven, and it was visible to the end of the whole earth. Following this, a watcher comes down from heaven, chops the tree down, but leaves the stump of its roots in the earth, bound with a band of iron and bronze. No doubt this connects this dream to the one in Daniel 2. This is further confirmed when Daniel interprets the dream, telling Nebuchadnezzar that he is this great tree. It is the chopping down of this tree and what follows that correlates with the mortal wound. but leave the stump of its roots in the earth, bound with a band of iron and bronze amid the tender grass of the field. Let him be wet with the dew of heaven. Let his portion be with the beasts in the grass of the earth. Let his mind be changed from a man's, and let a beast's mind be given to him. And let 7 periods of time pass over him. This is the interpretation, O king. It is a decree of the Most High, which has come upon my lord the king, that you shall be driven from among men, and your dwelling shall be with the beasts of the field. You shall be made to eat grass like an ox, and you shall be wet with the dew of heaven, and 7 periods of time shall pass over you, till you know that the Most High rules the kingdom of men and gives it to whom he will. And as it was commanded to leave the stump of the roots of the tree, your kingdom shall be confirmed for you from the time that you know that heaven rules. Where was the dragon thrown down to? The earth. And Nebuchadnezzar? Let his portion be with the beasts. The beasts, as in the 7-headed entities in Revelation. You shall be made to eat grass like an ox, and you shall be wet with the dew of heaven. Do these things not correspond to the earth? They do. Now, note what follows. At the end of 12 months, he was walking on the roof of the royal palace of Babylon. And the king answered and said, Is not this great Babylon, which I have built by my mighty power as a royal residence, and for the glory of my majesty? While the words were still in the king's mouth, there fell a voice from heaven. O King Nebuchadnezzar, to you it is spoken, the kingdom has departed from you, and you shall be driven from among men, and your dwelling shall be with the beasts of the field. And you shall be made to eat grass like an ox, and 7 periods of time shall pass over you, until you know that the Most High rules the kingdom of men and gives it to whom he will. Immediately the word was fulfilled against Nebuchadnezzar. He was driven from among men and ate grass like an ox, and his body was wet with the dew of heaven, till his hair grew as long as eagle's feathers, and his nails were like birds' claws. Here we see that the fulfillment of the dream came at the end of 12 months, the number 12 signifying governmental perfection and divine authority. This is certainly no coincidence. Also note that the mortal wound is in response to Nebuchadnezzar's pride, pointing to the first of the 6 things God hates. And the beast's mind, is this not a carnal mind? And the 7 periods of time? Might this correlate with the 7 heads, denoting the fullness of this carnal mind? I don't know about you, but I see this dream and its fulfillment as a perfect description of the mortal wound in Revelation 13:3 and agreeing with the throwing down of the dragon in Revelation 12. And I cannot help but be amazed how these writings connect, though they are hundreds of years apart. Only God, through his divine wisdom, could accomplish such a thing. Now, before I close, let me encourage you to read Daniel 4, verses 34 through 37. Follow that with Matthew chapter 23. When you do, you will find a match where the pride of the one agrees with the pride of the other. Now, would it surprise you to know that we have a third witness? That's what we will consider next. I sincerely hope you've enjoyed this study. And please feel free to like or comment or subscribe. And thank you for being a part of Grain of Wheat Publishing.